Hello again, pals. I'm here. I'm Coral, and I'm here with the books that I received as gifts and bought in December. How? You gotta lay down, my friend. I filmed 3 videos. I had a ton of books all today, and my poor dog has nowhere to lay on my bed. Well, I mean, he does have spots, but he can lay here or he can lay there. And he wants to lay everywhere. So, let's see. What did I do this month? These are parts of series. Can't really tell you much about them, especially this one because I haven't even read the first book yet, but I plan on getting to it in January. This is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. The first book is called Strange the Dreamer, and it's about a scholar that discovers like this ancient forgotten civilization isn't so forgotten as they thought. Something like that. Seems interesting. I'm hoping I really like the first one and then I'll just be able to read the second one. The other 2 books here, can't get the fucking stickers off of, are Thunderhead and The Toll by Neil Shusterman. These follow Scythe, which I really loved, which is like this weird like utopian book about this place where they've defeated aging and illness and accidents, and so they have to cull the population by electing these people called scythes to randomly kill people, basically. So this follows that first book. Really like the first one, so I'm hoping to read the second and the third and get through them and love them and be done with the series, because I'm really terrible at picking up the first book in a series and then never reading anything else. Then I also bought a couple books that I've read before but don't own. So, well, I guess this one I kind of did own, but I just had an ARC copy of it. I won in a Goodreads giveaway, so I wanted to get a hardcover copy of it. This is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. Probably my favorite book that I read in 2020. This follows a group of young men who, when they were even younger men, made kind of a mistake when they were out hunting, elk hunting one year, and it's like 10 years later and they're being haunted by that mistake that they made, and it's just so full of feeling and terror, and it's so just really interesting, and I think my favorite book I read last year. It was really good. So I'm glad to have a real hardcover copy of this. I also picked up a copy of Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levine, which is something I've read before, but I don't know, lost my copy of it, I guess. I think when I moved like out of my parents' house, I don't know what happened to the copy that I had. Maybe it's still there at my mom's, but she doesn't live here, so like I can't just like go over there and look, you know. But this is about a young couple who move into this fancy apartment building, and they really like their neighbors. They're mostly older folks, and the young woman gets pregnant and things get really crazy from there. It's a great movie and it's a great book. I also picked up a copy of Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. If you've been watching my channel for more than this video, I've talked about this a couple of times and how I just like didn't really like it, but like I keep talking about it, so it's nice to have a copy just for reference. This is like a story kind of about good and evil. It's about this little boy who gets lost in the woods for a couple days, and when he gets back, he's like overcome like a learning disability that he had, and he hears this voice that's telling him to build this tree house, and it was very Stephen King-y and not in a way that I necessarily enjoyed, but I know a lot of people did love this book. It's a big chunker. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I also got, for Christmas, a couple Star Wars books. This is Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, and this follows Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi when Obi-Wan's like a young Padawan and Qui-Gon Jinn is his teacher, his master, I suppose. And yeah, they're kind of trying to reconcile the fact that the man who taught Qui-Gon Jinn went to the dark side. It was Count Dooku, if you watched any of the movies or know any of the lore. So hopefully there's an interesting dynamic here. I also picked up I also received Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. And this follows Obi-Wan Kenobi a little bit later when he's like known as Old Ben and lives on Tatooine and stuff like that. And then this one about Senator Leia Organa. This is called Bloodline, and this is also by Claudia Gray. So I think this one is part of the like Force Awakens thing that they did. Okay, I also took a little trip to Barnes & Noble, and they like rearranged my Barnes & Noble again. There is a tiny little horror section still, but it's like the shelves all say thriller now, and there's just this tiny horror section with like 3 shelves of shit and then like 12 shelves of Stephen King, which is, I don't know, disappointing. I don't know if maybe it's just because like it's after the holidays so the stock is lower or what. But I did find The Children of Red Peak by Craig DeLuey. I really liked Craig DeLuey's book, Suffer the Children, so I was excited to see that he had like another horror book coming out. And this is about these adults who as children grew up in a cult and managed to escape from, you know, that situation. But one of their fellow escapees commits suicide, and they kind of have to come together and like reconcile what happened during their childhood and stuff. I really love books about fictional cults. And I really am curious to see what Craig DeLuey has in this one. I also found, but in the science fiction section, A God in the Shed by J.F. DeBow. And this one I picked up because I know that this was really buzzy in the horror community a couple years ago. It is really kind of a really gorgeous book. It's got some interesting artwork. It has these like really extremely deckled pages, and it's all around just a nice looking book. But this is about a small town, some sort of evil, like somebody coming back and catching a killer, but there's like even darker forces, it says. And I feel like this might not take place in the US because they call it a village, but I could be wrong. Not super sure what this all entails, but I'm excited to have it and to be able to get to it eventually. Okay, so separately I picked up The Ancestor by Danielle Trussoni. This is a book that came out in 2020 that was like at the very beginning of the year. I was like, oh yeah, I should read that. And then I was able to find it on sale finally, so I bought it. And this is about a woman who gets like this letter stating that she has inherited this like castle basically in Italy, and she finds out that she has this like part of her family she's never known about, and it's a dark history. And that's all I know really. It seems like it's going to be maybe like a slower kind of gothic feeling tale, but I'm into it. I also found a copy of The Beauty by Aaliyah Whiteley. This I believe I heard about on the podcast Reading Glasses, I think. But this is about a world where the women are gone, and we follow like the last generation of men, and there is a storyteller who tells the story of what happened to the women, and basically like this fungus infects them and kills them, and I just need to know more about it. Next, I have The House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. I need to get these stupid stickers off. I get that, you know, some places they gotta put a sticker on it, but why can't it be a sticker that peels off just a tiny bit more easily without having to like heat it up and scrape it off and shit? I don't know. So this is like a YA retelling of the, what is it called? The 12 Dancing Princesses story. And this follows a family where there used to be 12 daughters, but 4 of them have died, and the village gossips about how the family is cursed and stuff like that. It's really all I know about it, but this was another one that was talked about a lot when it was first published, and I'm finally getting around to it. It seems like a dark fantasy, and I'm interested in what's gonna go on here. Okay, I also bought myself 2 novellas with some of my Christmas money. The first one is The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. This was just recently released, and I really wish that I would have received it in the mail before Christmas instead of after Christmas, because I really think now I'm gonna have to put this on hold until next Christmas. This is about a group of people who get snowed in at like a roadside diner, and they get a visitor, and it's an alien, I think. So very exciting. Love alien stories. They creep me out so much, and so obviously I want to, you know, read about creepy roadside alien stops. The next one I picked up is The Worm and His Kings by Haley Piper, and this is a novella about a woman whose girlfriend is like taken. She like disappears, and the woman thinks that she might have been taken and like goes to find her. And I think this takes place like underground. I don't know if it's in like a sewer system or a cave system or what, but I'm very excited to know more about what's gonna happen here. Then I picked up 2 translated horror books. The first one is Confessions by Kane Minato, and this is a story about a teacher whose daughter is murdered, and I think maybe like her students did it somehow. I don't know, some fucking weird shit goes on here. I really am looking forward to reading more translated works in the coming year. They always just seem to have kind of a breath of fresh air compared to, not saying that American authors aren't superb, but it does kind of like invigorate my reading when I read something written by somebody who does not live in North America. You know, like there's just different things that go on in those societies, and it's fun to read about. And I'd like to read more, including, I finally got my fucking hands on Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Basterica. This is a story that was translated by, who is it? Sarah Moses. This one was translated by Stephen Snyder. I should have said that. But translator Sarah Moses by Agustina Basterica, and this is a story out of Argentina, and it's like it takes place in this dystopian world where something happens to all of the animals and they've become poisonous to people. So instead of being like, maybe we shouldn't eat meat, this society says, oh, okay, but we've got this special meat that we're gonna do now, and it's fucking human meat. And I've heard it's just bonkers and disturbing and dark, and I cannot wait to read this. I'm hoping maybe I can finish up quickly with the books I've chosen for myself in January, and, you know, put this on the line too. But we'll see. Last but not least, I have 2 books from Owl Crate. They weren't both from this month. I just know that I don't think I did a haul at all in November. So I think one of these might be from November, possibly. This one is from December though. This is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and this is an Asian inspired retelling of the Romeo and Juliet story, and I like Romeo and Juliet retellings. I had to read that a lot because I went to a couple different schools like my freshman and sophomore year, and it was like every time I got bounced to a new English class, they had just started Romeo and Juliet. So like I missed out on good ones like Lord of the Flies and I don't know what, like To Kill a Mockingbird, and instead read fucking Romeo and Juliet like 3 or 4 times. But I still like it. I guess. So stupid. The other one I have here is Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. I do have another book of hers, and it's like a science fiction book. This is a fantasy book, like a young adult fantasy, and this is about a kingdom that's surrounded by woods, and like the ruler of the kingdom and the ruler of the woods made kind of like a bargain, and as the kingdom has prospered and has been free of famine and disease and all that, the woods have grown like dark and creepy, and a little person, a woman, a young girl from the kingdom has to go into the woods for some reason. That's really all I know about this. I do love the cover. I like foxes a lot. Very cute. I do love a good woodland critter. So anyways, those are the books I got in December. This was quite a haul. One of the bigger ones I have had this year, I think. Although maybe it's just because I haven't had a very big one in a couple months. I don't know. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know the book that, if you got a book as a gift or if you bought yourself a book in December, which one are you most excited to get to? I think if I have to pick one of those, it might be Tender as a Flesh. I'm very excited about that one. Thank you all so much for watching once again, and I will see you very soon in another video. But until then, goodbye.